Friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. We're continuing in this playlist called SQL Mistakes to Avoid, and here we'll be learning the concept of null and not null in SQL and how it could be misunderstood and cause us some problems in our work. Okay, so let's just look at a certain table called geocodes, which is already existing in this database. So we have a straightforward SQL statement with no where condition, select asterisk, meaning everything, all columns from geocodes. Okay, I execute this. We're using SQL Developer, by the way. Okay, so when we do that, then we are returned, it displays to us all the columns and all the rows of this table called geocodes. Okay, so now let's try adding a where clause to the select statement. Okay, so select asterisk from geocodes where continent code equals AF. So it's just the code for Africa. Okay, so if I will execute this, then by right it should do a filtering, returning to me only the rows wherein the continent code is AF. Okay, so sure enough, it returns 5. Remember, this is just a subset of the real data. This is just MITAS data. Okay, so this is not everything. This is just for demonstration purposes. So select asterisk from geocodes where continent code equals AF, and it returns a few records. And true enough, the continent code, if you will check continent code, that column is here, and all of them have a value of AF. Okay, so we see 5 rows. Now let's pretend we had a lot more data than what you see here. Okay, let's just pretend we have a lot more data. So if we wanted to filter the data further by adding some, if you wanted to filter the data further, then obviously we need to add some more where condition. Notice that some rows here have a country code like this, Egypt, and this, Kenya, while others have none. Okay, so it's just saying null, meaning nothing. In SQL, null means nothing or no value. It doesn't mean 0. It doesn't mean blank. It doesn't mean space. It doesn't mean space. It doesn't mean 0. It means nothing or no value. It doesn't even have a length. Okay, this null doesn't have a length because it's nothing. Okay, so let's just say we wanted to filter this query further so that it will only display to us those rows with blank country code. Okay, so if we're not familiar with Oracle SQL or any other flavor of SQL for that matter, then we would probably be adding this condition here to the select statement, and country code equals null, right? We already know the concept probably of null, meaning nothing, no value. It's not 0. It's not a space. It doesn't have a length. Okay, so we will probably thinking of this condition, and country code equals null, thinking it will help us zoom in on these records here. No. Okay, that's what we're thinking. Now let's try to execute this. And the output is weird because earlier, if I will comment this, or even if I don't comment that, I'll just highlight this part here and execute. It will show me that there are indeed rows with a null country code, isn't it? This is so clear. This is crystal clear. But however, when we run by adding an additional, by adding a where clause, a condition of this one, country code equals null, it returns nothing. So obviously there's something wrong with the last change we did on our select statement. Okay, so the problem here is that we must come to an understanding of the concept of null in SQL. Null is not a value. Null is the absence of a value. So because of that, you cannot equate it to something. Okay, because null, remember, is not a value. It's the absence of value. So you cannot say blah 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 equals null, because null is not a value. It's the absence of a value. So because of that, what you will instead use is the keyword is. Okay, so instead of using this equal sign over here, I will replace this with is. Okay, so SQL is not case sensitive except for when you're dealing with strings like this. Okay, strings enclosed in single quotes. Okay, so as far as keywords are concerned and identifiers like table names, column names, they're not case sensitive, only when you're dealing with strings. So here the is, you can do it lowercase, no problem, but this is just for readability. By convention, the keywords must be in uppercase. That's for readability. It won't cause any syntax error. The identifiers can be lowercase actually. Okay, so again, I replace the equal operator with the keyword is, and then I will re-execute this one. Now we see what we're looking for. Okay, that's more like it. So we added the condition and country code is null instead of saying and country code equals null. So indeed, when we look at the data being returned to us, it's correct, because if we go down to, okay, let's just check on the first condition where continent code is called AF, then this is correct. And then for the additional condition we added, country code is null. So we go to country code column, which is here. And indeed, all three have a value of null. Remember, null is the absence of a value. So you cannot use the equal sign operator to test that, the value of that. Okay, so you will use is. Now, what happens if we wanted to check the other set, the rest of the data, meaning those that belong to the continent code of AF, but with values for country code, where country code is not blank. Okay, so again, we could fall into the same trap if we are unfamiliar. We could fall into the same trap of doing something like this. Remember, I'm looking for the rows that belong to continent code AF, Africa, and where country code column has a value. It's not null, it's not blank. So I could probably say this. I will say not equal to null. And we will fall into the same trap, into the same mistake we've done earlier. Because again, null is the absence of a value. You cannot use the equal operator and not even the cousin or the brother of the equal operator, the not equal. Or see, let me just try it so you will see. So this symbol, this characters here is used for not equal. Okay. Okay, so you see, it doesn't work. Even if you use the other not equal operator, which is this one, it will also not work. Why? Because what I mentioned earlier, that null is not a value in itself, but instead it's the absence of a value. So it cannot be tested logically by the equality operator. Okay, so what you will use in this case, instead of the is, earlier we used is, right? So now what you will do, because you're looking for the subset of the data which were in the country code column have values, so you will instead use is not null. It's like saying and where the country code column is not blank. Okay, and now this will work. Voila. Okay, so here we have learned about the concept of null and not null. Maybe something you've already learned from some of the training, from some of the video, but it's getting reinforced here because the danger of not understanding the concept of null and not null is when you come to the building your where condition for it. So you might use the equality operator, the equal sign, to test a column if it is null or not. But remember that because it's not a value, you will use is or is not. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, I do suggest you subscribe. If you haven't, if you're first time coming to this channel, you subscribe. And also if you're watching this video, I suggest you start from my other playlist, which is on SQL. If you are already quite familiar with SQL, then you can consider starting from the very first video of this playlist. Okay, thank you for watching and spread the word. I Hope to see you in the next video.